friends, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I will be discussing with you guys how you can save hundreds, even thousands of dollars on traveling to destinations that you thought were probably impossible outside of your price range. I'm going to give you about 10, maybe 12 hacks on how you can travel for next to nothing. So if this is something you're interested in, please be sure to stay tuned. So hack number one is to do a quick Google search. So in Google you can put the destination that you think you want to go to, your departing city or state or wherever it is that you think you may want to depart from, and keep things pretty flexible as far as your dates, even where you're going. You can even leave it very open-ended and let Google do the rest. Google will pop up a list of destinations based on price, or you can sort based on price and kind of determine where it is you want to go. Now you have to be pretty flexible when using this option, but you'd be surprised at some of the destinations that you could go to just by letting Google do the work. So even with that being said, even when you do the Google search, it may show you some prices that are pretty low, but you might not be sure of, you know, the airport or whatever it may be. So if you see that the price is very low for a specific airline, you can always go to that airline and do a search with that airline just to get a better idea of what the prices are with that particular airline. Sometimes those prices are cheaper. Sometimes Google has where they explain that maybe a second party affiliate or whatever, they may have a cheaper price. But just do a quick Google search, you know, type in flights and you'd be surprised. It usually pull up your location and let you know what the cheapest flights are based on your departing airport or your current location. So hack number two for traveling on a budget is to use your status. And what that means is if you're an influencer, if you are a, I don't know, travel agent, if you're a teacher, firefighter, veteran, all those things, you can always try to leverage those statuses to get you a better deal. And I mean, you can do that when you get to the airport, you can do it when you sign into a hotel. You can always ask the customer service, hey, I'm a veteran, hey, I am a social media influencer, hey, I'm a firefighter. Whatever it is that you are, use your status. Ask them, do they have some type of promo going on for your particular status? Now, it may not be on that particular day. Maybe they'll tell you a better day that you can use your status, but it doesn't hurt, and you'd be surprised at the answers, because you can get up to 20%, who knows, but it doesn't hurt to use your status to try to get a better deal. We've done that with different things, and we were surprised at how many places we were able to get a discount. So leverage your status. So hack number three is to travel in off seasons. I mean, you would think that that was common sense, but some people don't realize that there are specific times that people travel, whether it be summer, whether it be during the holidays. Try off-season times. For example, we travel sometimes in February, sometimes in November, especially November. If you're taking cruises, November is a pretty good time for trying to travel on cruises. It's usually one of the cheaper times because it's a little cooler. People tend to want to be with families. So if you get you and your friends, family, whatever, and you want to do a vacation that seems a little pricey, try off season, try outside of the time that you would typically travel. Even if it's like a Wednesday and you're traveling between Wednesday and Sunday, those times are times that people usually do not travel, and you'll find that those prices are sometimes a little bit cheaper. Hack number four for traveling on a budget is to try to rebook while you're already on the vacation. So for example, one of the things that we did this year was we traveled with a particular cruise line, and they kept saying that they had deals if you booked while you were on this trip. Even when we were flying, you will always hear them say, hey, if you do this, or if you rebook, or if you do all these things while you're within the traveling window, or even a week outside of traveling, you will get an amazing price if you rebook. So you're not obligated most times to travel like the next day, the next week, or even the next month. Sometimes these will last a few years, because the cruise line that we went through gives us the option to travel for a couple of years out, and we have amazing deals that keep coming through our emails, and we got a great option package that we can use later on. So that's something to look into, is to try to rebook or to even put a deposit aside while you're already on the vacation. And that works too with hotels. While you're at the hotel, if you love the hotel, talk to them and see what the options are for maybe getting a credit or some type of discounted, I don't know, some type of discount that you can use moving forward. Hack number 5 for traveling on a budget is try stopover options. Now, I know a lot of people don't know a lot about this, and maybe you do know something about this, but this was something that was kind of new to me, and I think I've heard of it before, but I wasn't too sure what it was or what it meant. We were traveling, and one of the things that we kept hearing people say was that they were stopping over. We didn't know what that was. So when the stewardess came by, they were asking us, were we going to stop in this particular area? And we're like, no, but we know a lot more people were. So as we were getting ready to take off, the flight actually had like their little videos, what is it, a little video screen, and they explained to us what a stopover was for this particular airline. For that particular airline, you could have stayed in whatever country that was that you were going to do a layover for. Instead of you doing a layover for a couple of hours, you could have done it for a couple of days, not paid any extra to fly to your next destination. And I mean, it was free. I mean, of course you have to pay for food and hotel, but the country was actually not that expensive as far as food and hotel. And just to be able to kind of maneuver in that area and to say you've been in that area as a layover to another destination for next to nothing, oh my gosh, that was amazing. So we will be doing that next time. But yeah, so basically you're leaving from one destination. Instead of you doing like a 2-hour, 3-hour layover that you would probably had to do anyway, you have the option to stay within a certain country, wherever your airlines is doing a stopover at, if they're doing a stopover. If you want to make sure you ask, to have the opportunity to stay for a couple of days and just pay for hotel, cab fare back, and for whatever food, and just to kind of see the country, that is an amazing opportunity. So look into stopover opportunities whenever you're booking an international flight or even a flight within the States, because you could be stopping in Atlanta, I mean, wherever. Stay over there for a couple of days and, you know, fly out to your next destination. So that's an option too if you're trying to travel on a budget and you want to see more for your buck. Hack number 6 for traveling on a budget is to book your trip at the lowest fare possible and then ask for an upgrade, or even wait for an upgrade. That's even better. So on some of the trips that we've gone on, we have booked the lowest fare just to get in, and then if you wait a couple of days, you will sometimes get the option to bid for an upgrade. Now that's happened with cruises, that's happened with flights, but the upgrades are a couple of $100s versus thousands of dollars. So that could be upgraded to a suite, that could be upgrading your flight, or if you don't get that option inside an email, which I'm telling you, more than likely you will get that option inside email. When you get to the service counter to check in, ask them, hey, you know, can I be on standby for an upgrade? And a lot of times they can do a free upgrade, or the upgrade that you have gotten is still cheaper than what you would have paid initially when you booked the flight. So book the cheapest flight and then try to get you an upgrade. Okay. Hack number 7 for traveling on a budget is book group trips. So I'm sure you guys have seen videos, vlogs, TikToks about, you know, girlies and guys going on cruises, trips, whatever, as groups. I mean, really large groups. And actually, that is the best way to travel if you have a large group or a large family, because you can get group rates on your flights, on your cruises, on your hotels. You can get Airbnbs. That is one of the ways that you guys can get a bulk traveling itinerary together and break it apart amongst yourselves. And that actually works out super, super cheap if you guys are able to do it. So that is that's also a way that you can save money, and you'll notice a lot more people are doing that. So I know a lot of people are like, why are they going with so many people? You get amazing rates when you book group trips. So if you can wait and do maybe a family vacation with like family members, or a family reunion, or a girls trip, that is one of the best ways to travel on a budget. You guys can split food, you can split. Listen, I'm telling you, try a group trip and thank me later. Hack number 8 for traveling on a budget is to book as far out as possible. Now, I know sometimes that can be a little tricky because you don't know what the future holds, but I'm the type of person where, listen, I'm going to put it out in the air, put it out in the atmosphere, and hopefully it'll stick. So I will put a pin in it and say that I am going on this trip a year from now. And I found that I can save thousands, and I'm going to try to insert a clip, thousands on trips based on the fact that I booked them a year out. Now, some places won't allow you to book so far out, maybe 6 months out, but the farther you book out, you will tend to save more money. And I'm telling you, this is it's hard. This one hurts my feelings. I take this personally because I should have booked the trip, and when I tell you I was saving 60%, and then I went back to look at the trip again because this particular trip I would have saved thousands of dollars. I didn't, but the other trip I did. But I'm telling you, book as far out as possible. Now, if you cannot go for whatever reason on that trip that you booked not years, child, ain't nobody booking no trips years. Well, if you can't, try. But if you're not able to go on the trip that you booked a year out, what you can do is you can always call, and let them know, hey, I booked this trip. I'm not able to go on this particular date. Can I move it? Can I do whatever? But if you are able to go on the trip, you will have saved hundreds, even thousands, if you're able to book the trip way in advance. And if your job or your lifestyle allows for you to take the time off, why not save thousands or hundreds of dollars on a trip that you probably would not have been able to afford otherwise? Hack number 9 for traveling on a budget is to travel to a different airport that's outside of your location, or a different port if you're doing a cruise. And I found that a lot of times you can save hundreds of dollars. Where you would think that the traveling would make sense by car or train or whatever, it actually does make sense. For example, there's 3 airports within 50 miles of me. And I found that the closest airport has never been the cheapest airport. So I kind of finagled between 2 different airports that are about 50 miles outside of where I live. And between those 2 airports, I can kind of finagle another couple of $100 just depending on where I am trying to go or what it is that I'm trying to do. But I mean, we've gone as far out as a couple of hundreds of miles and made it like a road trip. And it still saved me tons of money, even with gas and food and everything else. So look into that, because some airports do have partnerships with other airports as far as pricing. For example, I live in South Florida. For me to get to Jacksonville, it is ridiculous, okay? But if I was somewhere else and I tried to get to Jacksonville, it may be way cheaper. So that's just, and this is within the same state. So that's just to show you that sometimes the place that you think you're trying to go to is not necessarily going to be the cheapest. You might want to just kind of search around different airports up to a couple of 100 miles outside of your zone and just make a road trip of it. I mean, squeeze another, and one of those other hacks, I said to squeeze another trip into another trip. This might be the one for you. So try that and see how that works for you. You'd be surprised how much money you can spend actually traveling a little bit outside of your comfort zone. So try it and let me know how that worked for you. Or if you've done it, let me know. Hack number 10 is to use a third-party booking site. And I know a lot of times we're kind of iffy about using things like Orbitz or Expedia or even Groupon, but sometimes they can have cheaper rates as far as group packages. What I found is sometimes the hotels and the airport, well, the airlines will work together with these third-party affiliates and give them a cheaper rate just to get the word out there, just for advertising. And they may have the cheaper rate. I've even gone so far as to break apart a trip that I booked through one of these sites just to see if it was actually cheaper to go through the site. And it was actually cheaper to go through the site. I was able to also use points with this particular site. So, I mean, try to, go through the sites, compare them, and then go back and maybe compare. This is just depending on the time that you have. But, kind of compare and see where it is you want to go. You can also look at reviews of different hotels, airlines. You can just decide different grades, upgrades, or just different things through these sites. I think it's a little bit easier and a little bit stress-free going through these sites, and even booking excursions for those trips is sometimes a little bit better using these sites. So think outside the box and use one of those third-party sites. Sometimes it's way cheaper than just trying to break apart a trip or trying to put it all together and create an itinerary. So that's another way that you can save money when traveling abroad. Hack number 11 is for all you cruisers out there. So if you like to cruise or you want to go outside of the country and you want to go to somewhere like Spain, Portugal, Alaska, wherever it is that you want to go to, and it seems out of reach, try something called a repositioning cruise. So this is when a cruise is going back to its home port for whatever reason. I really ain't figured out why they're going back. But it's usually a one-way cruise somewhere and you have to fly back. Some of these cruise lines do have partnerships with airlines where it is very cheap for you to come back. They're usually a little bit longer. You will be on sea for quite a bit longer, but depending on the cruise, that might be a plus. Usually there's less kids, less people, it's more time to relax, and it's way cheaper than any other way that I've seen thus far to travel abroad for a long period of time and do a long kind of luxury vacation. So it's called a repositioning cruise. Look it up. Different cruise lines have them throughout the year. It's an amazing option if you're looking to go outside the country, do a luxury vacation, upgrade to a suite that you probably wouldn't be able to afford otherwise. So I think that is a great option, especially if you like to cruise or haven't tried to cruise. That is a great option. Repositioning cruises to try something a little new for a long vacation. Well, not a long vacation. I'm thinking more like 14, 12 days, because anything other than that, I don't know if I could do. But yeah, try it and let me know. As promised, I have 2 bonus traveling tips. The first tip is for those of you who are able to travel for work. Take advantage of the options to travel for work. If you're able to travel for conferences, use that time to, or use that opportunity to maybe bring your spouse, bring your kids for a cheaper rate. The hotel is usually paid for you and whoever you bring, and your flight is already paid for, and then you know everything else is kind of taken care of or refunded based on where you work. If you have the opportunity to travel for conferences, wherever it may be, this is a great opportunity to bring a +1. So take advantage of that. I know a lot of people travel for work and they're like, okay, I can't stand it. But if you bring somebody with you, your bestie, your hubby, your whoever, you know what I mean? Bring them with you and make a trip out of it. You're not going to be in the conference all day long. You know, maybe the nightlife is something you want to explore. Maybe the weekend time or some downtime is a great time for you to explore that state, that city. So look into doing that. Take full advantage of any type of travel that you have for work. So that's a tip for people that are able to travel for work and usually hesitate to do so. So the next bonus tip is for my students that are in college. One of the opportunities that you guys have is to travel abroad for classes. I don't know how many students know this, but my daughter brought it to my attention because she did it every single year. And she was able to save money, she was able to get scholarships for it, and she was able to also get credits. Sometimes you can tie it into your tuition and make it an expedited class. This is one of the ways she was able to travel to Dominican Republic, Paris, Switzerland, other places like that. And it cost her next to nothing, plus she got credits. So if you're a student, look into your program and see if you can travel for next to nothing. See what opportunities are out there. See if there's scholarships for you to travel abroad. This may be the first step to you being a world traveler. So friends, thank you so much for sticking with me and listening to these hacks for traveling. I hope that you're able to use them. And if you know some hacks that I haven't thought of, please be sure to share them in the comments. And let's get the ball rolling. Tell me what you guys have done to travel, or if you haven't thought about traveling, tell me which tip may help you to get out there. But yeah, until the next video, guys, thank you guys again for sticking with me. Be sure to share, comment, like, and I will see you in the next one.